Hi everybody, Joey here. So this job I'm making a coffee station. It's for, I believe it's going to go into a salon, and they want somewhere to be able to provide coffee and drinks and such. Now I didn't design this. I was given a SketchUp model by the architect for the building and kind of just said work out how to make it. He had drawn a kind of complex shape and just wanted it made, so that was my task. So I started out by making a template of the top and bottom of the whole unit and cut it out of a scrap cover sheet. Then I could clean up all the cuts and the curve and everything just with my spoke shave and some hand planes. This cheap particle board is really easy to work, and then I can get the birch ply and use my template to cut out the pieces I needed. Once I had the top and bottom cut, the putting together the carcass was pretty straightforward, just a couple of dividers. So to create the curved front, I'm using 9mm bendy ply. So I'll be using two thicknesses of this, so I'll have it end up with an 18mm front, and I just glue and pin that on. I ended up adding a bit of extra glue on the very top edge just because it seemed like it was a little bit dry there, so yep, glued that, clamped it up. Using that same template I made earlier, I was able to work out the size of the plinth, which is only 50mm high in this case, and so I just make a really basic frame and again bend some bendy ply around it, and that's that. So on the top work surface of this bench, they wanted a little strip for a garden or somewhere they could plant some plants or something like that. So I've just glued up some more bendy ply, and I'm using the actual front of the unit as my mold to glue up a piece that will create that little garden. And that is pretty much the carcass ready to go, so I can get some stain on the parts that aren't going to get veneered. And with this piece glued up, I can put it aside till pretty much the end. Now I can start making the ash countertop. And I like to just give everything a quick once over with my number 6 after it comes off my jointer. And then I can get it in the clamps. Once that's dry, I can cut it to size and flatten it off mostly. And I had broken my template, so I have to kind of put that back together and then use it as a guide to cut my 2 ash tops. And they fitted pretty nicely, but still just had to scribe and make the fit just a little bit nicer against the curved edge. Someone had commented on one of my other videos about using the domino to create a slotted hole to screw a top onto, and so I used it and it worked really well. The only difference is I used a washer on the head of my screw, but otherwise that's a really good trick. So I ordered a couple of sheets of veneer, and this stuff has a fleece backing, so it's kind of like a heavy paper canvasy type back on it, so it makes it really easy to handle the veneer. It's not going to rip or split on you, and so you can be fairly rough with it. And so yeah, cut the pieces out for the panels, the end panels, and got them into my press. See how often I use my press? Just becomes a shelf for stuff. Anyway, it still works. For the convenience of time, really, I just used contact adhesive for the smaller pieces of veneer. And then I just trimmed off all the excess with a knife. With the end panels out of the press, I could veneer up the door. So that's the same process. And I could clean up the end panels and give them a bit of a sand and edge the front edge that will be seen. And these are just screwed on from the inside of the carcass. Then finally had to get on with the piece I had been avoiding, which is this giant front curved veneer. I don't have any vacuum set up. At first I thought it would just kind of like veneer hammer on, like suction on, like they did in the old days, but yeah, the stuff with the fleece backing didn't really suction all that well. So we ended up kind of stressing out a little bit, but finally found a way to clamp it using an offcut of bendy ply and some strops and packing tape, and got a reasonable finish out of it actually. There was a couple of points along the curve which hadn't stuck down fully, so I superglued them into place. The flat parts of the front veneered on really well. Anyway, so then I could get on to edging the top. Once the door panel was out of the press and edged, I could get the hinges on it and get that hung. Then just using a scrap of wood with a couple of holes in it, I use that as a template for the shelf pins for the couple of shelves that need to go in there. And I can work out where to put some holes for the power cables and stuff to come through for the coffee machine. And that was pretty much it. I got some clear coat on there. Again, I'm using water-based polyurethane. And once this was done, which I didn't have my camera around for, I added the small piece for the garden on the top, and that was just screwed in with a couple of brackets because I wanted them to be able to take that off in case they got sick of it. So, yeah.